Hello, one and all, and welcome to another episode of Baggers Chat. My name is Mitch Patterson, and as always, we're joined by Ethan Daffy. And tonight we are previewing Collingwood v Carlton at the MCG, round 21, 7:30 p.m. And of course, it is our return to the home of footy, and as I said, at the MCG. But Daffy boy, first things first, how are you? And give me your initial thoughts ahead of this bloody crucial game heading into the last three rounds of the season.
Yeah, well, I'm feeling good. We both kind of have been speaking about it, looking at it from a positive sense of the outlook of the rest of the season. Our form hasn't been great. Let's cut the shit. The last month has been far from good. But I just feel like we've got something in us. We've got it in us. We are capable of turning this. It's not turning it all around. We can just turn it around. We just go like that. We did it this year. We've done it last year. They're capable. We've seen it before. It's not like we haven't seen it before. But yeah, it's a game that could make or break a year. Like I know technically, if we lose this game, we're probably still going to make finals because you probably got West Coast who we should be winning that game. That probably locks you in with 13 wins. And then you got the Hawks who are flying at the moment. I wouldn't want to come off another loss heading into that game. And then you got the Saints who knows with them. But yeah, this game, we always face them at a time where we need to win the game. You know what I mean? We always need to win, right, against them. But I feel like in the last couple of years, because both teams have always had something to play for, it's always been different, and it's another different story. They're looking to make the 8 this time. We're looking to make the 4. Like we've had the exact opposite situation in 2022 where we were looking to make the 8 and then they beat us in the last game to make the top 4. So I think it'll almost reach those heights in terms of how big it'll be. They're going to have a perfect run in the next month. Even if they win every game, there's still a chance to miss, which is unbelievable because, they're a premiership side. So there's always something lurking in the back of my head when we play this mob. Even if I'm confident, I'm always going, oh, God. Just losing to them anytime, whether you're bottom, top of the ladder, you don't want to lose to the black and white.
Yeah, well, right now the Pies are 12th on the ladder with 40 points, and obviously the Dogs have slid into the 8. They're classified as Footscray on the ladder right now, obviously retro round, but they're 44 points, so they're only one game out of the 8. But to finish the season, obviously they're playing against us this week. They're round 22. They're against the Swans at the SCG. They're playing against Brisbane at the MCG. And then they play against Melbourne the last round for the season. I mean, obviously, but yeah, it's a crucial time this weekend because obviously we have to I'm saying this right now, and I've said it to you multiple times throughout the week. If we lose this game, it's season over. Of course, it's not like we will still make the 8,
but mentally,
of course. But mentally, I don't know how we can come back from a loss to Collingwood and still be a genuine threat towards the 8. Maybe we might win a elimination final, or maybe we might lose a qualifying final and potentially win a semi, and we're still making a prelim, so it's still pretty good.
Sounds good to me at the moment.
But I'm just thinking, I don't know what I lost to Collingwood. I'm just sure that mentally that must be pretty. You have to get up for this week. Seriously, I don't know what more you can do other than to get you have to get up for this week against the Pies. You're coming up. Coming off pretty shit performances. Obviously, we beat North by 19 points or however we beat them by, but how many points we beat them by. But it's just, I'm at a point in time where we're still a very solid side. And I'm not saying if we lose this week, we're going to miss the 8 because we still play against West Coast and St Kilda.
Yeah.
But I'm just at a point of, I don't know, if we find a way to lose this game, I mean, and it's the exact same footy that we've been playing the past month, that's a worry. Massive worry. I don't know how that can even happen. So I'm just I think the pressure, it's been solid enough, but just in patches. When the pressure in the game needs to be there, we aren't there. I mean, should be. And last week in crucial stages where Port Adelaide had the pressure on us and the pressure of the game was there and the game was to be won, Port Adelaide won the game and they won the contest. And obviously,
Yep.
as you said, they won the game. But Duff, we're going to move straight into it. And the first thing we're going to touch on, it's a bit of Carlton, it's a bit of AFL. It's more about us being a little bit selfish right now. We are celebrating 1,000 subscribers right now on YouTube. And obviously, Daff and I have been doing this for 4 years. We started off with obviously Sam and Jack when we started. I think it was 2021 when we started. And obviously, we all kind of were in uni and we came up with the idea of should start a podcast. It was just kind of so outlandish. And obviously, over the years, it's transitioned to 4 and then 3 and then obviously 2 now. So we've had an absolute blast, Dapper Boy. But from 2021 to now, a quick word of blast it's been being on Baggers Chat and actually coming on every single week talking about the club that you love. But a quick word also about the 1,000 subs.
No, I just want to say thanks to everyone. Over the 4 years, whether you were a subscriber early, subscriber yesterday, doesn't matter. You're still there supporting us. And there's just something about, I don't know, I always thought in the past that I'd always have a look into talking about Carlton in a certain state. I didn't know who was going to be with. I didn't even know you before 2021. So, you just don't know whether it's by myself or with whoever, it doesn't matter who, but it's good it finally came into fruition. And I think it helps dealing with certain results, whether it's, the highs of highs, but sometimes, we've had the lows of lows. And, against this mob especially, we had to do an episode straight after that game. I'm not sure how we did it, to be honest. So, it kind of, sometimes you have it stuck in your brain or, you need to let it out. Like, obviously, you got family and friends who you talk to the footy about, but sometimes you want to just talk to a camera.
Yeah.
And you've got other people, agreeing, disagreeing with you. And sometimes it keeps you at a kind of level headspace, whether it's, if we've won a game and someone goes, oh, we've only beaten it might bring you down a bit. Just like, you know what I mean? It levels you. And if you lose, everyone goes, oh, we're going to be okay. And it gets you back up a bit. So it works both ways. But yeah, it's fantastic to hop on with you, mate. And let's continue it on.
Yeah, mate, likewise. But yeah, I mean, like, I thought about it last week. I'm like, imagine what we were doing in like 2020, 2019. We were playing like absolute trash and we weren't even, we didn't even have the podcast because I thought about it when we beat the. When we beat the Dockers in 2020, when Jack was going to go after the siren.
Yes.
Imagine the episode we would have done because my reaction, actually, I might even put it in if I can find it.
Yeah.
But the reaction, I recorded because obviously we were in our lockdown. So we were in a very interesting space of the world, and it was just it was so funny because I look back at it and I'm like, God, imagine if we were doing the podcast there. Like, it would be pretty funny to look back at that. But just like a few episodes that, like, I mean, even just the shit times of 2022 where we lost to the Pies, just the raw emotion. Because as you said, like, you come on the episode and I might have a really big like, oh fuck, we are shit, and then you might have the opinion of like, Patto, we're fine, like it's all cool. And then I'm like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, and then we kind of level it out. So I completely agree, and that's why we're in such a privileged position where we can come out every single weekend. We are just normal people, like we literally just come out and speak about the club we love, like exactly what you see on camera. I'm telling you, it's exactly how we are off camera as well. So, but yeah, no, like it's an absolute blast. Coming on every episode, Dave Boy, with you. But yeah, I mean, 4 years that's gone.
I know.
Big. But so I thought that we would just start off the episode with that. But obviously, we'll get into the thicker things for this week against the Pies. But Dave Boy, I'm going to throw to you for the injury list because there's a few crucial names on that list. What have you got?
Yeah, so obviously it came out a couple hours ago. We filmed this at about 7:50 on Tuesday. If you're a Carlton Nuffy, you definitely know when the injury report comes out about 5:30 to 6. Refreshing the socials for the injury report. See what new injury we have every week. But yeah, the main one I take out of this injury report was David Cunningham. And we kind of gathered the way he kind of, popped out his shoulder. I knew straight away. You said you knew straight away. It was kind of inevitable that he was going to be out for the rest of the year, considering the lateness of the injury too. It's round 20, so you don't have many weeks to recover to have a shot at playing finals. But yeah, it is a shame. I think he's I think the story of him is just a kind of unlucky footballer, and it shows that nothing is guaranteed. None of these players on the list, nothing is guaranteed. Doesn't matter if you're Charlie Curnow, who's had his injuries, to the the last guy on the list who's not getting a game. There's just the lucky. There's no, it's a hard game of football, and if your body isn't right, you're not going to get a game. Doesn't matter how good you are. So, before I get into the other ones, what are your thoughts on Cunners and that overall situation?
It's just so stiff, and I think you even mentioned it. I think it might be the last game that we see him in navy blue for maybe a few years. We were even speaking about it, and I want you to actually share what you said before we put on the episode, because I think you were absolutely spot on about that. But I just think it's very unlucky, and obviously a season-ending injury, and he's had so many injuries in his career. It's just so unlucky, and of course it's another shoulder. It's the shoulder that he had strapped on. And as soon as he did that, I mean, I told you in the episode, like as soon as he did it, it was right in front of me where I was sitting, and I'm like, because and I'm sure if people have been watching us for years, I'm a massive fan of David Cunningham. Like even like small like times when he was not really performing in the VFL, I'll be like, you've got to bring him in, don't you? Because I was always just that really big fan of him, man. I'm just, like shattering. But can you share what you actually mentioned about David Cunningham, about what the plan might be of what you might want to see from him, like in the next few years? Because if he unfortunately doesn't get a contract for next year, with what you said, I actually really completely agree, and I want the viewers to actually listen to it, because I think you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, so in the case, I know it's August and we're not talking about lists and whatever, hope for his personal sake he gets one. But as a collective, you probably look at it as I don't think we can hold on to these guys any longer, players like that, because you got to keep targeting players in the off season and keep improving. So if he ends, like you said, if he doesn't end up getting a contract at season's end, and he's kind of in that injury recovery mode where he's getting his shoulder right and his body right. He's been on an AFL list for, since 2018. No, since 2016, actually. Yeah, so it's about 8-9 years almost. So, I don't think cash is going to be an issue for him at the moment. So, for me, I don't think other teams look at him. He's kind of that under the radar, and then he's even more under the radar because he never gets on the park. So, this is the idea. It's not my idea, but it's an idea I completely agree with. And I read it on some forum on Twitter. I'm not sure who said it. So if you said it on Twitter, let us know in the comments if you're watching. But he said, if he isn't offered a contract, maybe we give him a Carlton VFL contract for next year. Because he's been playing twos anyway. Do you give him that year and go, can he get his body right on the twos without using a list spot and the salary cap in the AFL list? Of course, a VFL contract is so much smaller than an AFL contract, right? But I think he probably can do that. And if he can stay in the system and stay under the noses of our, the hierarchy and the coaching staff, and Luke Powers, the VFL coach, so he's the development coach for the AFL. So obviously he's amongst it. So yeah, maybe you give him a list spot in the VFL. I wouldn't be surprised if he's playing VFL next year if he isn't offered a contract. And it's cheesy. If he can get his body right, I wouldn't be surprised if he got an offer from some other club. But it's just I don't know if he can get his body right.
Yeah, it's just it's a point in time where he's just such a talented player, and it's kind of like Callum Marchbank. Let's be real. Like he's got the potential of being that walking best 22, but I completely agree. It's just like you can't hold these players on the list if they aren't going, because we need these players at this point of the season when it's a crucial time. And last week he had his opportunity, but it was 1 or 2 minutes on the ground, because I know that he started off the ground.
Yeah.
So I think it was like probably a minute or two on the ground, popped his shoulder, gone, dislocated his shoulder out for the year. That's just like completely stiff. But is there any other updates, obviously, on the injury report?
Yeah, so I'll just go through quickly the next few. So we've got 3 players who were a test for the Pies clash. Big Harry, I think he's going to play. Let's be real. I think he's going to play. Akers, another big one. I think he will play. Hopefully, pending if he's okay. I think by Saturday he'll be right. He did train today. Marchbank is interesting one. He's coming off an illness as well, and he didn't get picked last week. And I think he's almost in a similar boat as Cunners. Even if he does play the rest of the year, it almost gets to the point where you go, gee, I don't think he will, to be honest. I think Kemp's ahead of him in my eyes. And then the last three, Razio's got that calf still lingering. That's a little bit of a yeah, because he's had issues with that in the past. I thought he kind of overcame that earlier in the year. And the good news is Zach Williams is 1 to 2 weeks because he was 3 to 4 last week.
Mm.
So clearly he's tracking pretty well. I reckon it'd be on that 2 week mark. Usually it's when it's a 1 to 2, it's a 2. So worst case scenario, it's 2. And then obviously Hudson O'Keefe is the final one there who's done his hammy obviously again, but he's 3 to 4 weeks and I don't think he'll be playing much footy for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, because another name that I was looking on that injury list as well, Corey Durden, shoulder, to be
Yeah,
continued.
yeah, he's done for the year. Yep.
That's
Yep.
another player.
Yep.
Like it just
Yeah. No,
player
it
where
is.
it's just you look at that and be like, fuck.
Mm.
So
Yep.
yeah, it's another really, really unlucky.
Mm.
Yeah, like just so many players, and yeah, like even Corey Doonan in a few years' time might be like a David Cunningham, where he just hasn't been able to get on the park for a large amount of games, and
Yep.
unfortunately, you might just have to just have to sort. So I reckon over the season, I want him to go in for surgery early, no matter what, and even if David Cunningham does get like surgery now and potentially might get a contract for next year, that might be the club's plan. Like
Yeah.
we will give you a 1 year deal next year. You're going in for surgery right now. You make sure that you are ready for when preseason comes.
Mm.
The full preseason. This goes for Corey Durden as well. Have a full preseason. Make sure you're absolutely fit by Jan or Feb, and make sure that for those practice games, you know that you've got a full preseason. You're fit.
Yep.
You have no injuries lingering around your body, and you're heading into season 2025
Mm.
ready to smash out a big season and play for yourself because it's a 1 year contract. So
Yep.
these players will be on 1 or 2 year contracts for the rest of the year, you would assume. So
Yep.
I like maybe that's one of the directions that the club might go down of talking to these players and be like, look, we're going to give you one more chance. Surgery now.
Mm.
Make sure you recover, rehab, blah blah blah. Head into preseason fit, and then you head into next year, hopefully to smash out another year, hopefully with no injuries. But definitely, obviously, after the injury list that you very well took us through, we're going to now move on to our ins and outs, and it's another week of I don't think we've been accurate pretty much all year because last week we were bringing in bloody Jack Martins and all these guys, and all of a sudden they brought in Lewis Young. But
Yeah. Yep.
so the ins this week, and I mean, I obviously just mentioned Lewis Young, and you've obviously got an opinion on Lewis Young, so you choose when you want to talk about him. But your ins and outs plus a sub for this week against the Pies, who have you got?
Yeah, it's we were doing it pre-show. I've almost got to a point where I really don't know who's going to be the sub, and I'd really love to hear what you've got to say. So I'm just going to go ins and outs. I've got 4 ins. So I've got Harry, Mackay, Jack Martin. When is he going to play? When is he going to play?
Yeah.
Then like it's that hurt us last week. If he played last week, it would have been able to help Charlie to an extent. To an extent. Because that was it was really Charlie or bust last week, wasn't it? It really was Charlie or bust in that, especially that second half where we were going long down the line when we had no forward targets. But we'll move on from the tactic side. Blake Acres, he'll come in. He missed last week. He almost played. If we didn't have the 5-day break that we did, I think he would have played if it was a Saturday or Sunday game. I think he said that. And the next one is he hasn't played in a few weeks, but Jordan Boyd. I'm not really sure why he was out of the team last week when he was fit. I think people were thinking he was still injured, but no, he's fit. So he comes in for me. The outs. Jesus. So I've got Cunners out, injury. Got Jack Carroll out. And I'm not saying he's actually been okay. he's actually been okay, which is a good sign.
Yeah.
And that's nothing against him, but we've got to win some games. A third out, this is the talking point in our pre-show, and it's Lewis Young. And I had the feeling that we could play him, and if he does play, I wouldn't be against it because I know who he's going to go straight to, and it's going to be Mason Cox. He's our only defender over 200 centimeters. He can pinch it in the ruck too, which I thought he should have done last week. He should have played on Radigalia after the first half, or even you almost go Weeders to Radigalia and then you go Young to Dixon. When Dixon goes in the ruck, Lewis Young goes with him in the ruck, and then it sorts itself out. And we didn't do any of that. So I think Lewis Young, he can do something with him. That's the thing about him. He's got that point of difference, and we love the words point of difference, but he's got that height. We don't have that height down there. And I just don't know if we can risk being undersized against, Mason Cox, who's enormous. So I've got him out, but he's definitely a chance, I think. And my final out, and it has to be one of the wingers, because my mindset with the team this week is to have Walsh play more wing minutes. And I want to see him and Akers on the wings. And I think I'll be looking at that, team and going, okay, that's looking pretty good. With Chera in the middle, hopefully, because Boyd comes in, takes that spot, Chera goes middle. So I think he has to be managed. And I said it in the review. And I know both these wingers haven't been great. Potters hasn't been great at all. And Holly, he's been, hit or miss, hasn't he? He has some good moments and flashes. He just looks like he's almost played a few too many games, in my opinion. So I've got him out managed, not dropped. Just have the week off, and then get back into the swing of things. Because sometimes, what is he, 19? Like, I think we can probably cover him for a week with Sam Walsh on a wing, maybe. So I've just got him managed because I think one of them had to come out. I wouldn't be against Cottrell being out either, to be honest, because I thought, last week he was that moment where he, the ball was on the deck and he couldn't be asked picking it up at half forward. But yeah, the sub for me, I don't know. I'm actually going to leave it with you because I'm that confused at the moment because the whole Lewis Young thing is grabbing one side of my brain, and then I've got all sorts of shit going on. So I'm going to go straight to you, Patto, and then I'll discuss who my sub will be.
Would you play Lewis Young as a sub?
Yeah, you could. I thought about it before. I did. Yeah, fuck. Because if Pitto's struggling, you go, fuck, he can go on the ruck.
Yep.
If you need a forward target, I guess, maybe. I wouldn't want that. And then if you're struggling at halftime going, Mason Cox is getting a hold of us. Exactly. I know that's a weird line to say, but if he's getting a hold of us aerially around the ground, because he can hurt you in contests, and we're not halving the contest, then you go, fuck, Lewis, you're on. Maybe you get a small off and you go, no, sorry, we're going to have to bring a tall in and adjust this. So, yeah, maybe. Yeah, let's go with it. Lewis Young's going to be my sub.
Yeah, like it. Yeah. So I've just got a question also about Ollie Hollands. Now, I definitely, and I was with you a week ago or 2 weeks ago about Ollie Hollands. I think he had too many games in the seniors and he probably had to go through to the VFL. But I think now it's too late because it's round 21. You're heading into round 22 and potentially now Walsh might dominate it on the wing, which I might love. Oh, I might love that. And I'm like, well, do you bring Ollie Hollands back in? So it's the risk of manage Ollie Hollands, but he might not be playing in the seniors for the rest of the year. Or he might play as a sub, which might
true.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Like if he's a sub, that's fine.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The thing with Hollands, it just seems like he's undroppable at the moment.
Sorry?
He's undroppable at the moment, it feels like, with Voss. So, and, I feel like both of us make 3 to 4 changes every week, and we always get 2. We always get 2, and I feel like they just, like, I don't mind that sometimes, but I think if you've got a forced change, you've almost got to at least have 3 this week. But, yeah, Ollie's an interesting one, but I think we've got to bite the bullet now.
Yeah.
I think we've got to bite the bullet and change something in the middle and get some different bodies in there, not different, but, you get, Kennedy in there. I think he's floating around the positions too much. That's also a big thing with Lewis Young. So if he plays, you wouldn't have Kennedy floating at full back in certain stages of the game. So, yeah, I wouldn't be against that whole idea. But, yeah, I agree with Ollie. I wouldn't be against him playing. It's just, I just feel like he's just he's just having these moments in games where it's Collingwood Saturday night. Do you want Ollie Hollands running 50 out with a minute to go? I'm not pointing him out, but you know what I mean? Sometimes it's deer in headlights stuff in those games, and that happens to the best of the players. Not saying it happens just to young players, but it happens to the best. And I don't want to be, last 10 minutes of a game where it could be Walsh or Hollands on the wing and it's Hollands and you just, I don't know. But yeah, you continue.
Yeah, no, like you're exactly right, and I can completely agree. But I just don't think I have the balls to really do that. That's the only thing. So obviously, this might be a little bit less PG, but it obviously shows that your balls are bigger than mine, mate. But usually, we're not really a PG show because we bloody swear.
Yeah, we're definitely not.
Yeah. So my ins and outs. So I've got the exact same ins, but I've got 3 instead of 4.
Yeah.
So, ins, Jordan Boyd. I don't know why he didn't play last week. It baffles me. Blake Acres, lock.
Yep.
Harry Mackay. God, they're handy ins.
Yeah.
They are. We probably wonder, we'd be like, why are we playing well the past few weeks? It's probably because these guys are out.
Yeah, last week's loss, if we had them, we win. No doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
We had a 7-goal quarter with Harry in the team.
Harry Mackay in the forward, yeah.
He would have been down the line. We were playing the game like we still had him in the team. That was my opinion.
Yeah. But yeah, so they're my ins now. So your other in was Martin, right?
Yes.
Okay. So my outs, David Cunningham, Lewis Young, Jack Carroll.
Yep.
You kind of look at Jack Carroll, he's actually stiff.
I know, but...
Yeah. I completely... That's why I have him as an out. That's the whole reason why I have him as an out, because he was so good against North Melbourne. I mean, good.
I think sometimes people kind of, like, when a guy hasn't played much and he plays a half-decent game, they go, oh...
Yeah.
Fantastic. But it's like...
Yeah. We've got better midfielders. Yeah. We've got, I mean, and he's 21, 22.
Yeah.
Like, he's so young.
Yep.
Yeah, plenty of time. But and the whole reason as to why I'm dropping Carroll is because you give Adam Chera a chance, please. He's listed on the back pocket alongside Jacob Wiedering and Brody Kemp. What is going on? And then if I see him line up, this it just shows how much of a nuffy I am. Every single time they run out, I'm like, where are they going? Is he going for the midfield group or the backline group? And you know what he did? So that was right. So their training was right in front of where I was sitting last week.
Yes. And he was training with the defenders, and then he moved into the middle.
And then he moved back.
Yeah. It was like he went back and forth. I was watching it as well.
And so this is what I was speaking to Jacob about. So he started with the back line.
Yep.
Vossi I literally saw it. Vossi had a word to to Will Hamill.
Yeah.
Aaron Hamill. I'm thinking of Adelaide.
Will Hamill's the Adelaide hack.
Adelaide player. Yeah. Will Hamill. Yeah. So he was speaking to Hamill, and then he pushed Chera into the midfield.
Yeah. It was him and someone.
No, Chera only.
There was 2 guys, and it was Kennedy. Kennedy was with the backs on the other side of the ground, on the other pocket. Yeah, he was warming up. I remember Chair ran off, and then Kennedy went to the stoppage. They did the stoppage clearances in the middle with Pitto and that. It's like they go in their starting positions or wherever they're going to play predominantly, and then go need to work on the stoppage stuff. And when you're in there, so it was an interesting watch.
So I was watching Chera, and so I mean I'm not sure, but then I saw Kennedy only with the forward. I mean I don't know, like maybe I just took an eye off it for one moment when you were looking, but when Chera was then, because he definitely came back to the back line 100%. And when I saw him, I saw his movement with Voss, and Chera looks as confused as I do. And I'm like, that's a player just about like 2 minutes away from the opening bounce. He doesn't know where he's playing.
Yeah.
That's a problem. So it's either you put him with the defensive group, because literally he was doing the warm-ups, and then Buddy Hamill came over and be like, "Oh, Ches, over to the midfield now."
Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah,
it's unbelievable. But so I think Adam Chera, you have to give him more of an opportunity in the midfield, and that's why Jack Carroll, unfortunately, will make way. But now my sub, this is the conversation. Jack Martin
Okay.
as a
Yep.
sub.
Yep.
And like I could not include him this week.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
You had to include him. I've been
Yeah.
asking for him ever since he's been
Yeah. You have been.
to play. And like, if he doesn't play this way, I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
Because
Well, especially, I don't think we get enough out of our smalls at the moment. So,
yeah,
do the smalls make way? I really don't know. Really, you look at it. I'm not saying
yeah,
they will,
yeah,
but let's be real. Motlop had a good second quarter. Was non-existent last week.
yeah.
Always kicked a couple goals. Was non-existent, and then we had no forward pressure because we had Fogarty in the middle. So it's also coaching as well. It's a bit of mix of both. It's like, the small's got to stand up when a big's out, and obviously the big's back. But you got to be, it's just got to be better. I know the output sometimes is good goal wise, but fuck me, Patto. Like you said, we had 4 tackles inside 50, didn't we, or something?
Terrible.
Yeah, so that's the answer. That's not good enough from their end.
So you mentioned there about Fogarty.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on him right now?
No, no, he's fine. I think he had 5 goal assists or something. The week before that, I know it was North, but
No,
no,
yeah,
he's a lock for me. I think you have to have him in the team. I think he's the best pressure forward in our team, and I think he's good enough to roll through the stoppages, isn't he? Like
yeah.
he seems to be capable, more than capable enough to, roll around and kind of play that, forward, but also have the ability to have that kind of midfield time.
Because Jack Martin can be that pressure forward as well, and
Yeah,
Fog has Fog. He's
you've got
almost
to
all.
have both.
Sorry.
You've got to have both almost.
Yeah,
Both played the finals together.
yeah,
Fogarty doesn't lose much when he plays.
yeah.
And then you look at the other forwards, I know Owies has been good. His output's great. You look at Motlop too. He didn't get that easy into the team this year, Pato. So let's just see how he goes this weekend.
Yeah, and then like you kind of look at like if you were to bring in Jack Martin, what does that mean for Matt Kennedy?
But then, yeah,
Do we have too many mids playing?
I don't know. Chincotta probably makes way, I guess.
So we both have Chincona playing.
I've got him this weekend.
Yeah,
But if Martin comes in, Kennedy's got to play. He's too good.
yeah,
Now, remember we both had that opinion where he was stiff to miss out sometimes in our selection, but it was like, fuck.
yeah. He's too good.
Like last week, he proved to me that he's too integral. And like you said, he's 13 touches, one
Yeah,
more 13 touches. It was just impactful last week.
yeah. No, exactly right. Yeah. I think that, like the problems aren't that bad.
No.
What I'm saying, like, I think we even mentioned it. I think you even mentioned it in the review. Like the problems are there. Like we can see the problem.
Yep.
It's just trying to work on that.
Yep.
And it's clearly in the midfield. So I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm going to say it again. Adam Chera,
Yep.
you haven't given him the opportunity. Put him in the midfield, see what happens.
Yep. And if he's not good enough, then
Exactly. But if he's not, like, I would like him to play this week in the middle. If he's not good enough, send him back to the VFL. Seriously, I'm at the
yeah.
point in time where if he's not good enough and the midfield formation is going really well, and I love Elijah going through their Fog as well.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, I love the players that can roll through there.
Yeah.
Chera's not that roll through player. He's a midfielder. So if he's not in that list and he's playing, like if he's not in that group and he's playing on the halfback, he doesn't play for me.
Yep.
He's a super player.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just at that point in time now. I'm just like, well, we've given Elijah the opportunity. I think we have to give Chera the opportunity because we know how good he is.
Yeah.
See how we go. And who knows, if you have Chera, Cripps, and Walsh this week, we might actually find out what our clearance work and why Chera is so crucial to that clearance because I just can't believe he's not getting the opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't believe it. So, yeah, so we're both playing Chincotta, and you would probably expect that Chincotta would go to Dacos, as you said.
Has to go to him. You can't afford to have him run loose. Like you just don't want him to like his impact on the game is massive, right? I think rivalries aside, I know we all talk shit, and Cripps gets more hard balls, which he does. But watching last week, I know it was against Richmond, and he had 42 and whatever. But that first quarter, it was one of those quarters where you go, just put someone on him, and then they finally did. And they put that forward on the young forward.
Sam Banks.
No, Seth Campbell. Seth Campbell. Yeah, They put Seth Campbell on him because they were chirping all game back and forth to each other. It was quite funny, but he ended up with 42. But he actually ran okay with him, in it to an extent. You can't just stop him. It's like Crip sometimes. You can't stop them when they're really on, but yeah, you have to. I think you've got to just respect the opponent and then let the other mids figure it out.
Yeah, no, exactly right. And I think he's the perfect player for Chincotta. He's probably the last player,
Yeah.
probably the year, because Hawthorn probably don't really have that player. West Coast the same. St Kilda, potentially you can put him to a Jack Sinclair, but it's probably the last player that really you have to play Chincotta this week. And maybe the rest of the year heading into finals,
Yeah.
the conversation as to do you play Chincotta as that genuine tagger, as what we are doing right now. But Daph, let's now move on to our opposition watch. Now, the people who don't know what this is, we go through.
Boo.
We go through our backline. You, you messed me up, Daph boy. The backline, midfield, and forwards player for the opposition. So we touch on one player from each line and kind of explain why they might be a genuine threat. But as the people on YouTube can see Daph's face right now. He's not too optimistic about the Pies in their lineup. So the backline opposition watch staff for the Collingwood Football Club for this week. Who have you got?
Yeah, so I was obviously having a bit of heaping a bit of shit on them because just football club. But no, they got some good players, of course. You don't win premierships without them. So you look down back the moment. Obviously, Darcy Moore got into a bit of form last week, but it was against Bolter, who's a defender in my eyes, and it was just a really clunky forward game from Richmond last week, which really played in the hands of a guy who hates to pick up on someone in Darcy Moore. So he's going to be my lock, not my lock, my player down back. I feel like Charlie has got the better on him over the years, especially that one last year, which was exactly a year ago. 30th of July last year we beat him. So that was a very, very good night at the football, might I add. But yeah, I think he's a good player, Darcy Moore, obviously, but I just feel like he's almost playing like they've got a full team in still. Collingwood, he plays defending like they're still attacking all the time and they're still good. Like, when you're good, you can get away with it, right? So, like, if you're going forward to the ball, you remember he'd get it, and all of a sudden he'd launch this ball inside 50 and take the risky kick. He's still doing that when they're down by 5 goals and the team's got a better of him, which I think he almost needs to just revert back to his own role in terms of defending. A lot of people are saying that he's almost just kept like 100% all the time when you need to just slow it down. And hopefully he's rushing the ball this week, and we force him to rush the ball too. Just rush around and not really pick up an opponent. So, and with Big Harry back, fuck, like you said, it's he's almost. I think the pecking order of most important players in the team. I think you go one. You go Wiedering, irreplaceable in terms of irreplaceable players in this team. You go Wiedering. You go Harry Mackay.
Yeah.
Showed it last week. I'm not saying Charlie isn't. And I think you almost go Cripps. I think those three, and then obviously Charlie's one of them as well. But he is so crucial if we just hack a kick down the line because he can take a grab. We couldn't do it last week, which hurt us as well.
Yeah, no, I can completely agree. And yeah, that's it. I mean, I think Weeders is definitely our small to play. But when I saw that laid out, I'm just like, Harry. But yeah, like especially with him as a second ruck, he's crucial at the moment. So yeah. Now, so do you see Darcy? Sorry, if Harry Mackay comes back, which you would expect he will this week, do you think he will still be Darcy or going to Charlie Curnow? Because obviously Frampton was my nose is still absolutely terrible. I was sick over the weekend, but Frampton was a emergency on the weekend.
Yeah.
Do you see him coming in to potentially cover that Mackay role?
Well, last time he played on Harry absolutely killed him. I saw the videos today of the goals he kicked against him this year, and they're all on Frampton in the first half. He kicked 4 in the first half, I remember, 3 in the first quarter. So I think they have to bring him in, unless they have another tall that.
How or Maynard? That like that's it. That really is it.
They're going to have to, I think,
Yeah.
bring in Frampton. I think they're too small down there. They got good. Not saying they're not good, but Jeremy Howe on Mackay. There's no matchup for him. I think there's a matchup for Charlie in terms of more. I think they're the perfect matchup. I know Charlie's got the better of him, but they're both agile. I think they have to bring in Frampton, which, gee whiz, gee whiz, if we can get that working. I don't know if they've got someone else in, their twos because I don't watch enough of Collingwood. I try to avoid them at all costs. So, yeah. So who's your man in defence?
We haven't even talked about how much we bloody hate the club.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so
Bugger 'em.
yeah. My opposition watch. Now I've gone John Noble.
Yeah.
Bit of an interesting one, but I think I'll stand by because I think a lot of their drive off the halfback is through John Noble, and he obviously didn't get the opportunity to play in the grand final last year. So I think he's had that bit of a redemption, and who knows, that might be the reason why they're not playing that well this year because he's playing every single week.
Yeah. Who knows? Should have blamed John Noble.
Johnny Noble, it's all your fault, mate. What are you doing? But and then out of nowhere, I've gone with him as my opposition watch. But yeah, I think I think you need to limit the amount of times he gets a footy because
Yep.
if he gets towards that 25 to 27 touches, that can be a worry. Because last week he had 21 against the Tigers when it wasn't really down there a lot.
Yeah.
But when he does get a lot of the footy, that's when the Pies do look quite dangerous because he's obviously always looking to try and drive the ball forward. But you can even put maybe an Isaac Quainer to a stretch as well because he'll probably go to a Jesse Motlop you would expect because I think that would be a pretty juicy matchup for this week. But your midfield opposition watch that for obviously there's like a certain player playing his 400 fucking games.
Yeah. Jesus, yeah.
So there's obviously a few options there, but they're obviously missing Jordan De Goey, and I don't know what that injury update is. I'll find that out when you're speaking. But your opposition watch for the midfield this week, who have you got?
Yeah, in terms of De Goey, he's looking like he's out this week. He's struggling with that groin. They don't know what. I think he's going to be cooked for the year. I think he hasn't been right all year when he has played, has he? He started the year really well, the first four, and then he just couldn't get on the park. And then when he was on the park, he wasn't 100%. He missed the game against us with the same thing, the same recurring groin. It's osteitis pubis is the name of it. It's kind of, it's just like a lingering type groin thing. So that doesn't sound good. So hopefully he does line up in the middle this Saturday night if he's got an issue. No, all due respect, I hope he's okay. But yeah, I think the 400 gamer I'm going to look at. I like that you pointed him out. Obviously, it's a big occasion. I think it's meant to be. I think it's meant to be. He's one of those players that you love on your team. I've never really hated him, Pendlebury. Of course, you don't like him in a sense, but I've never really hated him. I've kind of admired him in a sense, the way he goes about it. He's not really a dickhead. He's just goes about it. He's a good footballer. What can you say, really? Like, you can't say a bad word about him this week. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they go with it. Like how they kind of roll him into this side, like how his role this weekend, because it'd be interesting to see how we attack at him, to be honest. I wouldn't mind seeing just, it's your 400th, but this is not a fucking charity game, mate. This is not a charity game for you, mate. We're going to go at you before the first bounce. Get him in the guts. Lay a big bump on him. Lay that extra ferocious tackle. You know what I mean? So, I'm not saying anything untoward or just in the game. Do not let him have like a roam around and chip passes and kick a goal like we did last time with Sullivan when he kicked his first goal. He roamed into goal and it was just, that's not good enough. And I'm sick of letting teams do that and, debut goals and milestone goals. I just feel like we always in the past, obviously we've been shit in the past, but teams have always bullied us in those games. I think it's time to get it back on them. And we're often good against them in the milestone. We beat them in the 150. We beat them in the 125 and 100th. I know that's different milestone, but geez, it'd be good to run on the parade like Walsh said in his presser.
Yeah, God, I wouldn't mind like a Lockie Cowan going out to Pendles, like the young star, just being like, you know what, Pendles, fuck you, mate. I don't care if you paid 400. Hey, just a bit of an elbow into the bloody rib cage. Welcome, and then Bennett will be like, "Who's this guy?" But I mean, I think I would. I just think there's a bit of grunt missing in that midfield.
Yeah.
That grunt. Like, have you seen the same thing?
Yeah, we have missed it. I think we're not running in packs as we were, especially last year. You know, that last 9 weeks, we were running in packs. We were tackling together. It wasn't one guy laying a big tackle here and there. It was Cripps, Walsh, Hollins. It was Akers, McGovern, all attacking together.
Yeah.
We need to get. That's a big issue for me too. Numbers to every contest. We are outnumbered the last month. And in that second half, how bad were we in terms of outnumbering? I know we were tired that last quarter. We were cooked, which also plays a part. But earlier in the game, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. You've got to get numbers to the contest. Otherwise, the midfielders will hurt you.
Yeah, no, exactly right. Yeah, so my midfield opposition watch, bit of a generic one. Probably a bit of a pussy one, if I'm honest. But it's Nick Dacos. Probably one of the best players in the comp, if not the best player in the comp. And he's a superstar. So I think, really, I probably wanted to look at probably maybe a Jack Crisp to really be outlandish, but I don't really. This might come back to bite me in the bum, and I don't rate their midfield at all. Seriously, I really don't.
No.
Their midfield's not as great as they talk it up to be.
I really like they got Ned Long. I did interview him for work last week, but and he was a ripper bloke. But we got to be on the upper. It's like you said, that midfield is not good. We've got to fucking beat him. We've got to beat a midfield for once in the last 7 weeks, Patto.
Yeah, and then I looked at last week's game. Jack Bytel having 25.
Oh, gee whiz. What were they doing, Richmond? Oh, Jack Bytel.
Oh, golly gosh. But all due respect to Joe Bytel, if you're watching this episode, you probably would be.
Really, like, if he's playing this week, it's almost a disrespect to Pendlebury.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah, but like literally, if you put Jack Bytel up against Paddy Cripps, are you serious? Like, are we being serious right now, Dav? If you put Jack Bytel up against Gripper, opening bouts alongside Dacos against Walsh and Pendlebury up against Buddy Lockie Cowan in the midfield, I'm sorry, but you've got to do something. I mean, seriously, I just think we're at the point now where you need to kind of, if you feel kind of any disrespect about midfield, fuck him up. Seriously, do something about it. Like, we're at a point in time where Carlton is one of the best teams in the comp. We're still fourth on the ladder. Collingwood are 13th on the ladder. Yeah. Like, show your might out there on Saturday night. It doesn't matter if you're playing in one of the all-time greats 400th game. We've got more to play for. We've got the premiership to win. It's this week. Seriously, I can't comprehend it as to why people be like, oh, yeah, but it's Pendle's 400th. Who knows? Like, I'm speaking to
Cares about this.
Who cares about them? It's our story.
Won their premiership. They've been there and done that.
Yeah.
They've been there, done that. We've got more on the line.
Yeah.
We've got a wasted fucking season on the line at the moment. You know what I mean? Like you said, I think you're exactly right. We've got more on the line. Of course, they've got something on the line. They've got their Legends 400, but they've also trying to play finals. They're not making finals.
No.
Put a line through them, put a fork in them, they're cooked, and hopefully we put the – oh, gee, it'll be good. It'll be good. And I remember, and I said it to my mum today, when the Carlton fans were leaving last time we lost to them, right? They're leaving in the last minute or so, like the Carlton members section, because it was our home game. I remember there was a mass exodus. I remember those Collingwood fans. I've never seen it in my life. I've never, to an extent that they did last time. Their whole end of the section and all the people near me, they all turned to the people leaving and all of them waved them goodbye in a cocky, smug way. And I remember that. It's like remembering the Zach Tui when he grabbed the jumper against us. And what happened to him, Patto? What happened to him? And when we're 60 up, let's make sure we wave those pricks goodbye and wave their back-to-back hopes goodbye.
They still have hope of winning but they're not even making the 8.
Yeah, I know.
So, I mean, obviously, you need to look at Dacos, and obviously I completely agree about Scott Pendlebury, as you said, with your opposition watch. I think in his 400th game. He's obviously a big threat. And with a few midfielders out, you kind of had to rely on a guy like Scott Penderbury, and who knows if he gets 25. There aren't many games that Collingwood will be losing in that instance. But Dave, what your forward line opposition watch? Who have you got?
Yeah, they're obviously they got a few bigs back the last couple of weeks. McStay coming off that ACL, who's I think they talk about him like he's the Messiah. Sometimes I think he's a good player. I think he's a good, handy player, but sometimes they talk about him like they won the grand final without him.
Yeah,
Let's be real here. Let's be real here. But he's definitely an important in because my checks out. The forward watch for me, if we can nail this, it'll go huge in the game. It's Bobby Hill. And we struggled last time in the first quarter on him. Oh, no, it was Jamie Elliott, actually, sorry. Chincotta was on Bobby Hill last time and kept him to 6 touches.
Was Sard playing?
No.
Okay.
Sard was injured in the Adelaide game and he was out for 6 weeks. So we had Chincotta who kept Hill. That was the start of Chincotta's run of keeping some good players. It started in the forward line of the opposition, then it transitioned, and the coach just thought, gee, he can do it against the best. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see who plays on him. You'd probably go Sard, I'd imagine, pace-wise. And, Lockie Schultz and Elliott's always he seems to kick a couple against us. So I think we've got the cattle down back to cover that. But Bobby Hill, if we can keep him under to 2 goals, maybe 2 goals and under 8 touches or something. I know you can still impact as a small with those numbers, but if we can just take him out of the game early, it's going to go a long way because you look at their forward line and, they got, Will Parker going through there, who's, that cricket player. He's a handy player, but you just got to take the kingpin up the top, and that's the Norm Smith medalist.
Yeah, no, exactly right. I was just having a look at the team lineup. And you don't want to, I mean, I probably shouldn't say it, but there was a certain individual that I was looking at the change, and I'm not going to say his name, but I just had a little bit of a giggle because if he's playing this week, like, seriously. But yeah, I'm not going to say the individual. I could be looking at a Jeremy Howe. I'm not. But yeah, I'm just looking at an individual or the interchange. And I'm like, are you serious? If we find a way to lose this week, yeah, there might be a worry. But yeah, my forward line opposition watch, it's a player that you said, and it's Dan McStay. Yeah. I think he is a player that I do agree. I don't think he's anywhere near the best key forwards in the competition, but he's a role player. And I think their structure, it definitely, you can see a bit of a shift. And I think he's been back for 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
And yeah, obviously didn't really have much of an opportunity to see him up like against Hawthorn. Like Hawthorn are playing very, very, very well. So I don't think he really had a great opportunity to showcase his skill. And obviously, like, he's coming off an ACL. So there's a few injuries that come. I mean, like, there's a few games that you need to try and get yourself back into before you play your best football. And I think last week he was solid enough, but I definitely think there is a bit of a worry. And my question is, do you think Wiedering would go straight to McStay and cancel him out of the contest? Or do you think it could be a Wiedering to a Cox, or, as you said also about Lewis Young, I know that you haven't picked him, but it could definitely be a conversation of cancelling Cox and McStay out with Wiedering and Young, and then you leave the small forwards where we could also cover as well.
Yeah. It's going to be very interesting selection, and I wouldn't be opposed to Young playing, but if he doesn't play, do you go, who's the more dangerous forward?
Oh, you would have to say
Cox, height-wise, that's the only thing I've got him. Do you go Wiedering to him? But I just don't want him getting outmatched height-wise. So, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a tough. You maybe go Wieders to Cox, and then you go Kemp or Gov to McStay or something. I think they can roll through that. I think they can both play the role on him. So that's a good thing about those two. They can roll through bigs and smalls. So they got to figure it out, because I don't want to be sitting there on the weekend going, fuck, we've got McGovern and Kemp rolling on Cox. So yeah.
Yeah. And if they do potentially play Frampton, that opens potentially an avenue for Jeremy Howe to swing forward.
Yes.
That's another thing as to what we might have to look at. And
Yep.
like I look at their lineup from last week, and they're very, very small. And I think even
Yeah.
though Hoskin Elliott can be
Mm.
at a medium forward, but Nick Newman can take Hoskin Elliott.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Newman's actually quite tall.
Yeah, and Newman can take, like, you got other guys like he can take the smalls, but he won't take Bobby Hill, but like
Yeah, no.
he can take
Elliott,
all of them, really. Yeah,
full-
Schultz and Harrison, they can cover them all. You got Boyd in there who can probably take a Schultz, I'd imagine.
yeah,
Maybe. I don't know, but it's yeah, you are right. I'm looking through their list and it looked very small. So I think they have to bring Frampton in if because of Harry. I think you have to, don't you?
yeah.
I'd imagine on his side of things.
So would you see Frampton coming into the back line and potentially Jeremy House swinging forward?
Maybe. I think that's also depends who we select down back, like
Right.
who they think we might select down back. Obviously, it's mind game sometimes, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see a late change on Saturday night from either team, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just in terms of like if they select Frampton and we don't select Young, then we might think, fuck, they might put Howe or Frampton forward. Then we look a little bit, oh, will we be?
But I don't
Like,
think Howe's that tall.
no, he's not, and Frampton isn't either. So can they afford to have Howe out of there of the
Yeah.
defence? I don't think so.
Well, so Frampton's 201 centimeters. That's
Oh,
pretty
shit.
tall. That's pretty tall. And then Jeremy Howe's only 190.
Yeah, so you almost go Frampton and Moore and, yeah, Howe up forward, I guess.
Yeah.
You can have all three, I guess, down back as well. So, because you can kind of cover, he's kind of over his height. His ability is kind of over his height, Howe, because he can obviously jump up. But,
Yeah.
yeah, they're looking, yeah, it's
Small.
a very interesting lineup.
Yeah. And then obviously, like if we bring in Jack Martin, that's another
Yeah.
avenue. Said Jeremy Howe probably has to stay back. And then
Exactly
Frampton will
right.
probably take Mackay. Moore takes Curnow. Howe goes to the Martin and then leave the smalls to try and
Yeah.
battle it out. And
Mm.
yeah, it's a very it's a very fascinating lineup. But yeah, I'm looking at it and I'm just like, I say it almost every time we play Collingwood, they're not that good.
I think this year we can say it. And it's not going to bite us in the eye. Like, if they beat us, they beat us, right? We've always got next week. But obviously that's not going to be my reaction. My reaction if we lose. But it's like we've got to go into this game optimistic rather than being pessimistic in terms of a negative. And that's the way I'm out looking at this next month. You got two pills, Patto. You got a red pill, you got a blue pill, right? You know those memes. You got the blue pill, positivity, red pill, negative. What do you choose? I'm going the positive. Let him roll. Be the positive mindset. Believe in his team. Whether we lose this week or not, let's just believe they can get the job done. Because what is the point of being here? What is the point of being here if we're not going to go? Of course, we're going to call them out. I'm not saying that. But when we head into a game, I don't want to start the game. I want a good vibe.
Yeah, exactly right. Very, very interesting analogy with the red and the blue pill. I definitely do remember that.
Yes. Yeah.
With the green as well, the green or the yellow. I don't even know what it was. But yeah, very, very, very funny that. But definitely, let's now move on to our highly anticipated, very reliable, especially from my point of view. And it's the match predictions. So for the people who don't know, we go through bag of the game, point of difference, winner plus margin. So Daffy boy, I'm going to throw straight to you. Your match predictions for this week against the Pies, Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. Pendle's 400th. Cripper's whatever game he's going to dominate.
Potter's 67th game. That's what I was thinking. This is a little sneak peek. I do the game day graphics, and I'm thinking of doing something funny for that graphic, like a banner of like Chinkotter's 17th game or something. You know, like a big milestone or something to kind of chat shit about their milestone. But yeah. Do you want me to get into the predictions before I start rambling on about this?
Hey?
You want me to get into the predictions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Start rambling on about my ideas.
I'm bloody dying over here, so you go.
So bagger of the game, I've got Harry Mackay. I think he was one of our better players against them last time. I think he'll get the 3 votes in the bagger of the game. I don't think anyone can match up on him down back. And geez, he's crucial. I think he's all Australian, to be honest. It's going to be hard for him to sneak in because they seem to, I don't know, they just. Well, he's got the goals too. I think people are forgetting that too. He's top 5 or top 4 in the Coleman. So, yeah, 4th. So and he missed a week. So, Point of difference. Oh, God. Point of difference. Point of difference. It's going to be Jack Martin.
Oh, I like it.
Jack Martin, and he's going to kick the first goal of the game. He's going to kick the first of the game. He's going to sit on Jeremy Howe's head, and give him a bit of his own medicine in a sense. So here's my point of difference. Winner plus margin. Gee whiz. Gee whiz. Oh, God. I don't know. I feel like they're going to be up to it. I feel like we're going to be up to it, though. Everyone's saying they're going to be up to it. I think we're going to be. I don't think they're going to be letting themselves down this time. And this week, I've had instances on this channel where I have been bit in the ass after we lost to Collingwood in the first game we played them in 2022, saying, when we were above them, I said, they can enjoy this win, but we'll be in September and they won't. And they ended up coming fourth, and we ended up missing the game, missing the finals, getting beaten by them. Had 5 mates send me the same clip after we eventually got knocked out. So I don't want to get bit in the ass again, but I've got to back these boys in. So I think we're going to win by 22 points at the MCG.
Yeah, like it. That's also my fault about that video, because I posted that. I put that, and I'm like, God, it would be funny if we don't make it. So I put that in. I'm like, a bit of a bit of a F you Collingwood, but and then when I saw us, like, oh no, and then it happened. I'm like, oh, why did I post it? Why have I done that? But yeah, I love the predictions, and I've actually changed my point of difference to what you said about Harry Mackay. So I'm going to start off with my point of difference. Harry Mackay.
Yep.
He was originally Adam Sard, and now I think about it, I'm like, Adam Sard having a point of difference game would be handy on Saturday night. But I think they can probably cover and potentially tag, like have a run with tag with Sard. And I don't think you put Bobby Hill, because I think Hill's too dangerous. But I don't know, maybe you bring in like a Markov to potentially go against Sard. But he was even on the emergencies as well. Well, maybe not Markov, Davey. Maybe not Markov, but
I hope to God, I hope they're listening and they pick Oleg. I hope they pick the Oleg.
We're in absolute shambles here, Tabby boy. But yeah, so point of the difference, Harry Mackay. Bagger of the game, as soon as I was doing this run sheet, the first thing I did, I saw it, and I was just like, Sam fucking Walsh.
Due.
Bagger of the game. He's due for a Walshy game. Like, fucking dismantle the Pies, mate. Cripper might get tagged or have a bit of attention, maybe with Ned Long, maybe going to Cripper.
Yep.
Come on, Walshy. It's your opportunity to stand up. If you look over and your captain's getting absolutely tagged out of the game, you're the vice captain in the midfield. Step up and show why you're in this midfield, why you're one of the best young players in this game of AFL football. Show what you're worth. Come on. We're over there. The hack kicks and the gimme touches of 25 touches. And but he had 25 touches. Like, even I was a bit like that last year. Like, oh yeah, he had 25 touches, 11 clearances, and you're like, come on, and I'm like, yeah.
He's better than that. That's my expectation. Of course, they're high, but he's better than that. His ball use had improved since his first couple of years, and now he's got back to that slap kick.
Yes,
around the corner. I want him to take the game on, and then sometimes also he's almost taking the game on too much. Taking a few extra steps where he's getting chased down, and it obviously impacts going forward. So, no, I agree. He's still a good player, but I want him to get going.
There's something missing. There's just something not right with Walsh at the moment. And then, like, you can look at the stats and be like, well, he's still getting 25 touches. But, as you said, it's just like there's something that isn't going right with Walshy, and he needs to find it out. And he's come out. There's been a bit of a shit in the media about Walsh as well. Like, I think on the couch last night, they actually pointed out Sam Walsh's game. So there obviously is a bit of conversation going on Walsh. So you know what? You're the vice captain. It's your time this week to stand up for yourself, especially when your club's not doing too well right now. So it's up to you now, Walsh. Winner plus margin. I've gone the Baggers by 39 points.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
smacking.
I
Like
think we've got
we,
to. We can get away. We can get away, and it continues in the second half. We've got away from plenty of teams this year and lost. So if we can get away, and then second half, you put the foot down, it's over. Like you got to get to that point where the game's done and dusted before even 3/4 time. I want to get to that stage against this team, which last year was good. That round 20 it was kind of over 10 minutes ago, but it always had that lingering. I don't want any linger. I want them gone at 3/4 time. Their whole crowd gone,
yeah,
and they don't even stay for their legend in Scott
yeah,
Penner. Well, they might have to stay. That'll be even better. Beat them by 70, and they have to watch us put on a clinic. That'll be, is that, to be honest, when I think about that, I wouldn't mind them just sticking in their seats for an extra half an hour.
yeah. And then just watching their team, their finals hopes, their players just dropping their heads. Handles in the middle, being like, "Oh, what's going on?" And they're getting smacked by the arch rivals.
Yep.
Like, come on!
Yep.
Like, oh God, I've got 39 points, but I can almost go 60. 10 goals, Daff. No, I've got to stick to 39 because we might end up losing. We're coming off 4 crappy performances, and I put Buddy Carlton to win by 39 points at the G. But it's purely because it's this week where you can't have the same football the past few weeks, and you can't not show up this week. How can you not? You're up against Collingwood, against. I think it is a sellout. I think it's a.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I don't know what that might mean. That might be. I mean, they say sellout, but it's never going to be 100 at the game. But it might be 90s, mid 80s. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to the whole occasion because, like, I'm sorry if we find a way to lose this game, or if we are playing the same football that we've been playing the past month, I'll be heading into that review. Probably if we get the win and we play a bit like North Melbourne, if we get the win and we still play the same that we've been playing for the past month, would you still be happy?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I'd be happy. Of course, you've got to improve, but we've just got to get the wins here at the moment. If you told me at the end of the game we win the game and we played a half of footy, you take it, don't you?
Yeah.
You can take it. But I do agree. I want to see you're never going to get a 4/4. I don't think there's any team plays 4/4 anymore. I don't even think that. And momentum in a game, it's too hard to stop. So you're going to have quarters where you do struggle. And I think people have got to accept that.
Yeah.
You've got to accept that. It's maximizing your momentum. We had the momentum at the start of the Port game in the first quarter. I kicked 1 goal, 4 or whatever. Didn't maximize it. Maximize it in the second quarter. Weren't enough in front. They maximize their momentum. What happens? You lose by 2 goals. So it's just a matter. You can't stop the momentum. It doesn't matter if you're playing north or you're playing top of ladder. It's just the way of football with the whole 6-6-6. So let's just not let them get in that momentum because Collingwood, when they're up and about, they just get rolling. They did against us earlier in the year, which was that was a very disappointing performance.
Yeah, no, exactly right. Very, very well wrapped up, definitely. But obviously, that is the last segment that we'll touch on, and that's another preview done for the year, heading into round 21. That is crazy how quickly the season has gone. But definitely, before we wrap up the preview episode, is there anything else you would like to say?
Yeah, it's like you said, it's always a good occasion. I think there's always a vibe heading into those games. You kind of go eye to eye with Collingwood fans as you walk past. You don't give them any emotion. You don't give them any smile. And everyone's kind of both teams they're exactly thinking the same thing. Let's not lose to these guys. It's just what it is. That's just what it is, and it's a rivalry that's going to be forever. I think it's reignited the last 5 years. In my opinion, I thought it was starting to fizzle out a little bit. I think our rivalry with Richmond was bigger at some stages, but now that both teams I guess they're struggling a little bit, but they're still okay. And we got something to play for. It's kind of ramped up, hasn't it, since we've got better? So. Yeah, let's just get it done. Let's get around them too. I don't want to hear any moans. We're all going to moan at some stage of the game, for certain moments, but I want to just minimize that. I want to get around it. Someone fucks something up, don't moan.
Yeah.
Bang on the fence. Come on. Lockie Count, if he stuffs something up, get around him. If Wiedering lets in a goal, don't go, oh, not again. Just get around them. Get around them because the Collingwood fans, they're 13th and they still think they can win the flag. That's their mentality. And I don't mind it.
Yeah.
They're going to games thinking they can win every week and they think they can win this week, which is a mindset I think we need to almost start to get into. that we are confident, but we're almost quietly confident. And obviously they're a different fan base. The fan base is obviously quite. I won't explain it, but they're outspoken, they're loud, and they can get into the opponent's heads just through their own voice in the crowd. I'll tell you what, I reckon Carlton's been rattled over the years against Collingwood just because of the crowd. And when you're sitting there and you just want to sink in a little tiny hole and you just want to get out of the stadium. You're just sitting there going, oh no. Like that round 23. That was the crowd. They kicked one goal, the roar, like they just hit the lead. And they just go bang, 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 bang. Let's do it to them. Let's fucking end their season. I don't want to hear 2% chance of making finals. I want 0% chance, and then they're fucked.
Yeah. Like have us be like the redemption of they fucked our season 2022. We can end their season this. We have the opportunity this week.
Yes.
And there's just always like, I mean, we said it throughout the episode, like, oh yeah, it's Pendle's 400th. I don't give a flying fuck about Pendle's 400th game.
Who cares? Who cares?
Yeah. Like we've got so much more to play for. Like Collingwood aren't playing for, I mean, they're playing for a premiership for like the 2%, but it's like we are top 4. Like we were second on the ladder last week, but we've got the opportunity this week to get our season back on track. Come on. Like we've got a premiership to win. A buddy like a draft pick to play for, Duffy boy.
Well, they don't because they traded it.
Oh, that's right. Yes, they did. Lockie Schultz, God. How great he's playing. God. Yeah. I love playing against Collingwood. I do it. It just brings that little bit extra. It's always good. But very well wrapped up on Duffy boy. But to every single blue bagger out there, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We don't have to say anymore that we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, but we've reset. But we obviously will be looking towards our next milestone. So we want 1 million within the next week. But imagine the K, it could be the M in a few months. But I mean, like we always have a blast coming on the episodes every single week. But yeah, I mean, like I think it's great that we've got the 1K. Which is obviously saying, we don't really look at the stats or anything. We just absolutely enjoy coming on every single week to come on and talk about the club that we love, definitely. But make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you do enjoy our content. We upload a preview and review episode every single week. But also make sure to check out our socials, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter as well. We're starting to use a little bit more as well. So make sure to get around those. But to you, Daffy boy, and to every single blue bagger out there. The baggers!